More questions and answers and more to come. Feel free to submit more at wespenreproductions@gmail.com. Enjoy. Question 1. As a person aged under 20 and watching your videos, I most likely still have a long life to live. I do not want to be part of the singularity, but it's most likely everyone around me will. How would young people opposing the singularity be supposed to live a substantial life if everyone will dwell in smart cities where all the food and jobs will be available? How will this person survive until their time comes to escape through the grid? Answer. This question gets asked many times. The answer we can give people is to become aware of what is going on around them. You won't get blindly swept along by the current if you do this. Then you have the opportunity to make choices for your life that will be in accordance with your own intentions. Begin to decide how you want to live your life, what you are willing to accept, and what you need to do in order to achieve what you want for yourself. Start working on those things. Ariel has a quote that she uses on our forum. There is no such thing as bad weather, only a lack of appropriate preparedness. There are always solutions to any problem. A good thing to do is to educate yourself on how to become self-sufficient, so you know how to survive when the time comes. Learn about gardening and how to survive in nature. Also, if you have a skill you can develop, do so. Most possibly, those who choose not to be part of the singularity will go back to a barter system, where you exchange your skills with others, who can give you what you want. It's worked before, and it will work again. Question 2. Hello, as I am desperate for an event to occur in my life, I have imagined it, felt it, smelt it, and experienced it in my mind. I did this heaps of times, and today I found out that this event will not include me, although from the start I've had high hopes and strong intentions. Is this because I didn't do the law of attraction properly, or because I'm just not meant to be a part of this event because something else is planned for me? Answer. There may be a few reasons why this did not happen. There may have been some underlying resistance to the event, either consciously or subconsciously. Also, if you have stronger intentions for something else in your life and this event would have somehow interfered with those earlier intentions, then this event might not have been a match to that particular life path you have set yourself on. This is related to your speculation, in which you answered your own question, that something else may already be set in motion in your life, and this event would not fit into those circumstances. We'll give an example of this. Ariel entered a sweepstakes to win a new house on the coast, her dream. She felt and experienced all the vibrations of winning that home with an assurance that she would win. She did not win, however. 5 months later, a hurricane swept through that area. Ariel's strongest intention overall is for the safety and well-being of her family. This house would not have been in alignment with that original intention of security for her family, and that intention was honored above all. Often it is only in hindsight that we see how these things are working in our best interest. Trust the answers you are getting for yourself and trust the process. Tom Campbell explained how it works in this simulated reality. It might have been that your intention was very strong and you did the best you could. But let's say that there are 15 probabilities that could become the outcome of what you wished for, and some probability are more probable than others to manifest. Now let's say that you wish for an outcome that is in the 6th most probable outcome. By setting your intention, you might actually have made your outcome climb up to number 2, but it was not completely enough to get it fulfilled, so it didn't happen. If there would have been only 3 probabilities to begin with, the chances that you got what you wanted would be greater. Question 3. If upon transition of the body, death, one's soul is instantly recycled into the reincarnation process, then how would one experience the state of heaven or hell upon death if they believed in such religious beliefs while here on earth? Since we that are awake know that heaven and hell were created, then we know that if a soul experiences that state after death, it would be because they chose to via their beliefs. But I was under the impression via the Wes Penre papers that the soul is automatically recycled right after transition. What say you about this? Answer. When a soul enters the afterlife, there is no measure of time. A soul can be given memory of an experience that is like a download, a package of memory and experience that is instant. The soul can then have the perception of being in a space and having an experience that seems very real. It can seem like the soul was in that space for a long time, when actually it is nothing more than an illusion. There is a lot of trickery and deception going on in this realm. The Wes Penre papers, WPP, played with a couple of different ideas about the afterlife. One was that we get immediately recycled, and the other was the currently accepted idea that we go where our belief systems take us. Although I was advised by an anonymous source that most of us do get recycled right away, I doubted it at the time because of all the regression therapy that has told us otherwise. However, after doing more research since the WPP were completed, both Ariel and I have come to the understanding that my source was actually correct. What people in regression therapy experience has more to do with implanted memories. Question 4. How accurate is the information from the Wingmaker's materials, especially the 5th interview? And isn't Dr. A.R. Borden 15? What more can you tell us about him and his contributions to the whole hologram of deception we are in? Answer. In our opinion, there is a lot of truth in the 5th Neruda interview, but we don't agree with everything. It's impossible to point out details in this video, but we suggest you compare with our research and you can see where we differ with the Wingmakers. The interview is well worth reading, however. There is good stuff in there. Dr. Borden, CWPP Level 1, was collaborating with the AIF, and he knew it. His approach was to represent humanity as a self-proclaimed diplomat, trying to save humanity from the bad ones. He was supposedly on Enki's side in this conflict, but even if so, Enki's side won't help us out of the Matrix. Therefore, regardless of what his intentions were, his efforts would not set us free. Question 5. Will we have a choice to be microchipped? Or will it be made mandatory or essentially manipulatively mandatory? I.e., you can't buy groceries at the store unless you pay with your microchip, etc. And what about the animals, dolphins and whales included? How may they exit the grid? Could you talk through the visual of what our soul site will see as the control grid? Will it be sort of being underwater and swimming to the surface, and you will know when you are up for air? Answer. We cannot give a satisfying answer to this. It seems there is still a big chance microchipping will happen, and without it you can't buy and sell, because if you don't have a chip that can be scanned at the cashiers, etc., the store can't get paid for their merchandise. Money and debit credit cards will no longer be accepted. The solution to this is explained in the answer to question number 1 in this video. When it comes to animals, they are members of different collective groups of their own. We suspect they will experience something separate from the human soul group. What that might be, we cannot say. There may be things that we will not know the answers to until after we exit. When you die, you'll immediately go to the astral realm, which is located within the matrix. That's where you can see the grid. You'll die as you've done so many times before, but instead of going to the light, you spot the grid, which you perceive being above you. Then you won't float or swim, but you think your way out of one of the holes you'll see. This process is all about thought. Just like when you're having an out-of-body experience, you think yourself to where you want to go, and an instant later, you're at your destination. That's all there is to it. As for what we will see as we make our exit, that will be an individual process. Question 6. 4 years ago, my son at the age of 29 suffered some kind of breakdown and was diagnosed as having a psychotic episode. He was studying a PhD course in physics when he became interested in the true history of humanity and spirituality, and attended several workshops learning about Reiki, activation of the Merkaba, Ayurvedic teachings, and last, the aliens who fought each other over the living library. He eventually dissociated with this reality, and his behavior became very erratic and unpredictable. He has since been hospitalized 5 times and subjected to antipsychotic drugs. He says his mind has been hijacked by some interdimensional beings who were crazy themselves, and that they had targeted him. Do you know of a way by which my son can free himself from this violation and to claim his sovereignty back? Answer. It sounds to us that your son became so enthusiastic that he was willing to try multiple practices without further thoughts or consequences. Some of these practices open up your chakras completely, and he probably opened himself up for anything to come into his space and possess and or affect him. He never used discernment but gave everything his best shot. What's the solution? We suggest you tell him the following. 1. Close your chakras. There are many descriptions on the internet how to open and close chakras. 2. If the entities are still there, tell them firmly but gently that having them there has been a helpful experience for you, but now you reclaim your sovereignty and you insist that they leave you alone. Say, I want you to leave me immediately and go back whence you came. 3. You can use shielding techniques, but that is not the best option because it puts you in the same vibration as the entities you want to protect yourself from, and the attacks may continue. Instead, set up boundaries. This is my space, and I decide who can enter and who cannot. And I hereby declare that no one is allowed into my space unless I intentionally invite them. The latter part is about letting loved ones and friends into your space when appropriate. This is the best procedure we know of, but be prepared to keep repeating these steps. It might take time. Don't be discouraged if it takes months or more, but it doesn't have to. Just don't give up. Good luck. Question 7. How do you all feel about marriage ceremonies? Is it just a fairy tale as the chocolate Easter bunny and fake pagan holidays? Like if I get married to the soul I've been deeply in love with here in this creatrix, and we both eagerly plan on exiting the grid, will we be together forever till death does us apart in this 3D and beyond? Or does every tub rest on its own bottom and when we are out in the car we might no longer be together? Answer. Develop loving and beneficial relationships while you are here. Be open-minded to the experiences we will have after we have exited this matrix. We can only perceive and feel things from the current perspective of this reality. Be open to have an expanded perspective of things in the car. What feels like the most important thing in this reality might not seem so when we have unlimited potential after we leave. That's not to say you won't be together. If both your intentions are to continue to experience, explore and create together beyond this reality, then we are confident that this is possible so long as it remains beneficial to you both. We don't see anything wrong with marriage per se. It's a bond between two people who are very close to each other. What we don't like is the Freemasonic ceremony, because that's what it is, where we promise to be together until death do us apart. That can be a curse if the two after some time realize that they actually can't live together or they grow apart. But marriage in itself can bring two people closer. We would suggest that the two set their own agreements how the marriage should be in that case, and disregard the legal and religious firmly set rules that obviously will go with it. Question 8. After awakening to the truth and seeing through the deception, I realized there is no going back to ignorance. It's impossible. Now I'm wondering if I should continue to go to church just for the fun and relations. If I go, does it affect me in any way? Please advise me as a father. Answer. Going to church should not have any negative effect on you, even if you disagree with the church religious aspect of it. Because you know what it is and stands for, you can simply go there as an observer and to mingle with people there whom you apparently like. As you said, you can't undo what you know, so there shouldn't be any significant risk that you would fall for the teachings. The only problem we see is if you need to lie to the churchgoers and pretend that you are a Christian, for example, when you're not. That might create a conflict within you over time, and it can trigger shame and guilt inside you because you're not being authentic. After all, you control your experience. Church participation can be extremely supportive and rewarding according to what your intentions will be for the experience. There are many good and valuable teachings that come from religion. We can take what elevates us and become more compassionate toward each other and ourselves, and discard the stuff that makes us feel afraid and powerless. We choose what experience we want for ourselves. Church can be whatever experience you make for yourself. Question 9. What do we do to help awaken people passing through serious financial problems that can be life-threatening? Many like me are made to awaken with the help of this problem, but the problems linger on. Answer. When this happens, we need to change our beliefs. The reason we continue having financial issues in this case is because we, often subconsciously, have a belief that money doesn't grow on trees, and we can't truly perceive a life in abundance, although there is an abundance of money in the world. The first thing would be to set intentions that you already have an abundance of money. Not that you will get it in the future, but you have it now. All there is a constant present, and if you put your wealth into the future, it will always be in the future, like the donkey chasing the carrot. Then figure out what your passion is. What do you really want to do? What will make you enthusiastic? Start working on that, because if you express it fully, it will eventually bring income. In the meantime, you might need to maintain the income you have right now, but write down steps 1, 2, 3, how you can achieve your goal, and start implementing the steps in that order. We wish you the best of luck. Few things are as stressful as having financial problems. Question 10. I have a question concerning the Queen of Orion. It struck me as odd that she would have a male as her successor. This implies that she at some point will die and that a male will become the king. Doesn't this go against divine goddess makeup of this universe? Answer. Good questions. There is no male successor to the queen's position. Enki and Enlil are princes. Enlil is the crown prince. He will not take over the queen's position. We are not sure what will happen when it comes to Khan Enlil's position, because death, in the sense we know it, with amnesia, doesn't exist there. So even if the Khan's body would perish for some reason, it's reasonable to believe that he as a soul would still come back and reclaim the throne. Enlil and Enki remain princes, and the queen's daughters will remain princesses. The queen's physical body, as we understand it, is not unperishable either, but we doubt that someone else will take her place. To be honest, we are not totally clear about this. In the Wes Penre papers, I talked about a queen grandmother, information I got at the time, and I've tried to interpret that. In the scheme of things, I believe that it's just the same queen taking a new body. Question 11. Seeing as though America is the new Atlantis, and the whole world from corner to corner is pretty much controlled by both factions of the AIF, where do you suggest we live in order to have somewhat of a peace of mind while working on our inner grid, preparing for the exit after death? For example, should I invest in a home or business in America, or should I just focus on getting away? But where is getting away exactly? Answer. Make your home wherever you feel the most joy and security. Your home and your life experience are what you make them by your own choices. Peace of mind comes from an inner state of being, not a location. Question 12. Since I started meditating, there has been an increase in the incidence of body vibrations. Whenever I became aware that I am dreaming, immediately I smile or laugh from a hilarious occurrence in the dream. The vibrations start and the intense tingling sensations around my throat, Adam's apple. This makes it very hard to surrender to the vibrations, and I'll just wake up and start rubbing my neck from the effect of this tingling sensation. Could there be some energy blockages or problems with my neck? Could this be the reason why I'm not a good, fluent speaker, even though I can write very well? Answer. It seems to us that the vibrations you feel come from the initial state of an out-of-body experience, OBE. If you research OBE, you'll notice that the vibration is a stage where the soul is trying to get out of the body. This can happen during meditation at times. For many people this feels scary and they stop the progression right there. However, it's harmless and a part of the process. Even the tingling sensation is present in an OBE. When it comes to your throat sensation, you could be correct that it starts there because of a blockage in that area, but we have nothing to back that up with. It could also be that for you the tingling sensation just starts there, period. If you want to have a full OBE, work on ignoring the tingling, even though you want to rub it really bad. Just go with the flow and you will, sooner or later, probably have a full-blown OBE.